Barry Ferguson will rate his greatest midfielders, his teammates and opponents on this episode of The Warm-Up.
Brought to you by William Hill. But all the history of the Scottish game, that would have been a head-to-head. Barry and
it was naughty, it was nasty at times, and
petty.
Aye, it was. He was, I wasn't.
Okay, Barry, this is ranked. So for this episode, we're going to ask you to rank your best 3 midfielders you played against in Scotland. We might chuck another little one in there. Followed by your best 3 teammates.
Yep, on you go, fire away.
Well, let's start at 3 then. In Scotland.
You're certainly no one, because I remember playing against you in centre midfield. I had you all over the place, didn't I?
I can't. That's not the way I remember it, but no.
I'm going to go number 3, Stan Petrov. I thought Stan was a right top player. Certainly at Celtic. He was one of the midfielders who was always running off your shoulder, so you had to keep an eye on him. Always had tough games against Stan. You knew when you come up against Stan that you had to be wary his late runs. So
how difficult
and he's a
was
player
that?
I actually had a lot of respect for, and you bump into him now. I think Stan's a.
He was a fantastic footballer, but also that thing you mentioned there is willing to run without the ball. How difficult for that as an opposition midfielder to mark?
It's one of the hardest things. And what you need is, see if you've got runners like a Stan Petrov, you need your 2 centre backs to be talking. And I had 2 brilliant centre backs behind me, in Amoruso and Craig Moore. Craig Moore especially was brilliant at that, because obviously Stan would run off you, and sometimes on your blind side, but Oz would obviously pick him up, because he wasn't really playing against much when he was up top. When Sutton was up top, wasn't he? So no, Stan was a fine player.
Stan was good playing around corners, pass follow. That's what Stan. He was the more advanced one eventually. I mean, under Martin, when I first arrived at the club, I thought that Martin may end up sort of releasing Stan. I think he was a right back the season before, and then all of a sudden he sort of played him in midfield and. I'm not taking a large part of credit for helping him develop, but a large part of that was down to me, pass follow.
But he was a good player, and you could see why he went down to the Premier League and done really well as well.
Did you see that transition in training as well? Like, when Martin arrived, well, obviously you weren't there before, but you could tell if somebody's levels have went up.
Well, I wasn't really aware of Stan, in truth, before I arrived at Celtic, but over the years, I mean, you think about where he, the sort of positional change first of all, but then the way his career developed, and when he went to Villa, actually he played as a number 6 now, don't you? But I always thought he was better when you sort of released him a little bit. He had a big backside, Stan. Not quite John McGinn's, but he had that turn, didn't he? And had that power.
Powerful runner as well.
He was, but Sutton makes a good point. He was good at the ones around the corner and then going in your blind side. His late runs, and that's where I thought he was most dangerous, and that's when I thought he was at his best. And he was tough.
He had a burst over 5 yards, like over a sort of longer distance. He could fizzle, but he had that 5 yards where he was
like scoring goals as well.
Goal scoring midfielder as well, which again in the modern day I think's a dying breed.
But he was willing to take risks as a player as well. I mean, it wasn't just safety football. Such as you say, around the corner, you can lose the ball, but he kept on doing it. He kept on asking questions of him. Number 2.
Probably the hardest games I always had against were obviously Celtic. But I'm going back where previous the late 90s, early 2000s teams, they were fantastic in terms of the team I played, and obviously the Celtic team I played against. The second I'm going to go with, I had to look after him 2 or 3 times, and it was difficult, was Moravcik. I never knew anything about him.
No, neither did I.
And the first game I played against him, I remember it was at Ibrox, I think. He went and took a corner with his right foot. I think Big Oz headed it out, and he went to the opposite side and took
his left.
His left. And technically, he was good. He was a good player, and I had to. I get assigned to him 2 or 3 games, and I didn't enjoy it. He's a clever football player. Had no pace about him whatsoever, but technically, You didn't know what side he was going to go.
Yeah.
That was the issue for me.
He had that chop, didn't he?
Aye.
And the thing with most players, you think, well, I'll show him on his week one. It's tricky.
He was a good player, wasn't
Yeah, and he could do things. I mean, it was really strange when I arrived at Celtic and watched him in pre-season. I thought, oh, Martin will release him. He doesn't sort of run at all. But Martin always liked a maverick. But some of his ability to finish, like you say, I mean, the goal he scored at Hibs the time over by the
no backlift
No, he was a tough opponent.
How difficult for you speak there because I mean if he got the ball, he'd obviously work, but you're then trying to
what we done
implement your game plan on him to try and run off him, but he's not going you.
No.
Are you then scanning where is he?
No, because he would cheat, he wouldn't follow you, so then you had to be wary.
Yeah.
And when we played against Celtic at that time, we identified him. I know you had obviously Larson, you had Sutton, you had John Hartson, you had Petrov, as I said, but he was the one, he was a magician for Celtic. And I got allocated that job a few times and I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it because, as you says, you can chop, he had that chop, left or right. He was a fine football player. And again, he was somebody before he came to Celtic, I'd never heard of him.
Yeah, same, yeah.
And I think they only signed him for like 300 grand or something like that. An absolute snip.
Yeah. And the toughest?
I've got to say, he was my biggest enemy, and obviously he was the captain, wasn't he, Celtic, Lenny.
I used to enjoy it because we didn't really, we didn't like each other as teams because you just we respected. Barry said earlier we respected them as players, but there was always that with Barry and Neil. There was always that. But there was always a genuine respect because listen, I bumped into him a few times and there was always a genuine respect. But on that pitch, it was naughty at times. I think if you look back, if you go back to the you
wouldn't get away with it.
But all the history of the Scottish game, that would have been a head-to-head. Barry and
it was naughty, it was nasty at times and
petty.
It was. He was. I wasn't. But again, he's a player I respected. He was somebody who kind of just knitted that Celtic team. Yeah. And let other ones go and do what he's done. But when they come up against him, it was interesting.
I think when you look back at Neil Lennon as well, though, the way he played the game, you don't really see it now either. You were just sitting there, and he was just the little passes break up, and a little pass tidy enough football
in the middle of the pitch.
And
again, what I just mentioned there, he allowed other ones to go and do their stuff. And you need, I'm a big believer, you need one of their players in your team. Incredible
discipline. He had so we signed him halfway through the first season. We had the 6-2 game. You then we didn't think we'd cracked it because they then thumped us at Irish 5-1, and then I think Neil came in just after that in the December or the January. Really important signing in terms of, I mean, Barry said stabilising us to sort of get us over the line. But he was so disciplined as a player. We sort of had the Mavericks in the team. Alan Thompson, who would always half turn, try a sort of miracle pass. He was good at it. But Lenny was so disciplined. He wouldn't do that. He'd just keep things ticking. And
it's so important.
What made him so difficult to play against then?
Just a number of things. Like he had a nasty side to him.
Which still has.
Which I don't mind. That's fine. He was just an important cog in that Celtic team. And as you says, he kept things simple, but it's important. I don't think enough players like that get enough credit. But I just enjoyed. I relished the challenge. I just relished standing in that tunnel, coming up against them and coming up against that Celtic team, because it was a Celtic team that was full of units.
Yeah.
I mean, you had Sutton, you had Big John, you had Bobo Baldy, you had O'Harn, you had who else?
Mialby.
But then like Alan Thompson, it was a strong team. Didi Agat.
And then you had Larson, who could jump higher than everyone.
So no, they were. See, when you actually look back in so many games, like you get somebody send you like one of the league games or whatever for instance, you actually look and see the quality player that was on the pitch with both sides. Scotland was lucky at that time.
I know I can remember getting a few chasings off both teams.
But you think about Barry and Lenny. You had sort of heart. The heart of Rangers, heart of Celtic. You had fire, and two players who wouldn't back down. That's what played in the games. But that was always special.
But had always respect. That was one thing about that team. We always had respect for them, because you would sit down and you would go through and watch them and think here. Because if you go in and think they're just a good team, no, they're a top team. We need to be honest. We're a top team, but we need to be on our mettle here. But they duels, I used to relish them. It was good. It was as I says.
Well, I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying this as much.
What they were good at as well. They were both good at refereeing the game.
Yeah.
In
training and the game as well. Yeah.
Well,
and the referees. Yeah.
They were the best, really.
You go in, you have a wee chat with the ref, and you give him a wee cuddle. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm enjoying this that much. I said there was one. Who was your toughest opponent you played against when you were in England?
Paul Scholes. Again, could do everything with a football. Now, I could say Stevie G, Frank Lampard, world-class players, Roy Keane, Vieira, but I didn't like playing against Paul Scholes. I didn't know where he was or what he was going to do. And again, I'll go back to it.
Nasty.
He had a wee nasty side to him. But he could do anything with football. He was top class. I mean, the players that I mentioned were all top class, but there's something about him that you couldn't tie him down. You didn't know where he was. He had a range of passing that was ridiculous. He was a top player.
Toughest opponent you played against in Europe for Rangers?
Barcelona team. It's got to be Xavi.
Remember Raquelme at Ibrox that night as well?
He's up there, I know. He was. He was.
You got back Luther Matthijs that as well, didn't you? At Bayern Munich.
He poked me in he double poked me in that.
Couldn't get near you that night, mate.
I couldn't see for about a minute. Do you know what? He'd done a double poke, and it was one of the ones I couldn't see. I didn't like him.
Take a bit of that. You still went like
that? I just didn't like him. But he was coming to the end of his career. But I'd probably say Iniesta, for the size of him. Have you played against him? You played against him?
I was on the bench.
Yeah.
It was in Europe, mate. It was in Europe. I was just sitting watching.
What a football player.
And toughest opponent you played against with Scotland?
Pirlo.
He's some player.
Aye. I mean, they had some midfield that was Pirlo, Reno, Gattuso. And he was Reno, man. I didn't like playing against him either. He was he's an absolute pest. And Ambrosini, I think that was the midfield three for them. But I'd played against Pirlo in my youth, Scotland youth, and under 21s. And Ambrosini,
was that good then as well?
He was a wide right. He wasn't a centre midfielder because he was very small, very like myself. Like he was a late developer, but he turned into what a football player Pirlo was, and come up against Italy a few times, and he was top class.
Teammates, who's the best midfielder? Yeah, we'll go with that.
Best first.
So no, from three to one. Who's your third that you played with in Scotland?
This is so hard because I was lucky. I was littered with top midfielders, littered with them, and I feel I'm leaving people out, like big Jorge Alberts, for instance, and two guys like that. But listen, I'll answer your question. Third, Van Bronckhorst. Again, great engine. Never knew much about him. We signed him £5 million for Feyenoord, and he came in for 2 years. He was a brilliant Rangers player. Could score a goal, could get about the pitch, could handle the ball. We had a brilliant relationship. Two of us played in the middle. I played on the right side, he played on the left side. Again, physically wasn't the biggest, but could manipulate the ball, could do everything you would want in a midfielder, and hence the fact that we only played with Arsenal.
Even then, did you see that level at Arsenal, Barcelona?
You could see he wasn't going to be at Rangers long. You could see that he was going to go to the Premier League, which he did with Arsenal. They spent £9 million on him, and then obviously went to Barcelona and became a left back. in the end. And Dutch captain as well.
Over 100 caps as well for
I'm putting him in third. I could easily put him in first. And I could easily put other guys in, but you're putting him on the spot. I'll say Van Bronckhorst.
second.
American Claudio Arena. Loved him. Could play anywhere on the pitch. He was a central midfielder. But at that stage, as I mentioned, we had two guys, Van Bronckhorst, myself, Alberts, Reina. We're littered with. There's a lot of good players, a lot of top players. But Claudio Arena, I could, again, another player who could get about the grass, could go up and down, played right back, played centre midfield, played wide right, played holding midfielder, played number 10. And again, another player I didn't know much about. We signed him for $5 million for Wolfsburg. And you think American, what's he got to be like? But technically, Claudio could do anything with a football. So I thoroughly enjoyed playing with him. Really enjoyed playing with him.
And your favourite?
The guy I had the most connection with, without a doubt, was Ronald de Boer. Most connection with him. Knew where he was in the pitch. We just, I don't know, you get that. You usually get that way when you play with people up front. You just get a connection with somebody. And I get a connection with Ronald. I just knew where he was going to be. He made my game simple.
What were you thinking?
His arrogance, like in a good way. I like arrogant. I think you've got to have a bit of arrogance. But he was.
What were you thinking when he arrived? You know what I mean? I know there's. I mean, you speak there was top players in that Rangers dressing room, but I mean, Ronald de Boer was like Barcelona ripping it up there. They'd already won the Champions League with Ajax. He won his way to Man United, then arrives at.
I think we got him because I think he's injured. Half a knee, didn't he? Basically, he never trained every day. But oh my God, what a football player! You could see why he played at Ajax and then went to Barcelona. And I don't know. I had a brilliant relationship with him. I just loved playing with him. He made my game easier. Round the corners, just took up positions that midfielders couldn't take up.
Just seeing things earlier than everyone else.
He was a step ahead. He was a step ahead, sorry. And I would have loved to have seen him in his prime. I would have loved to have seen him fit. I mean, he was
fit enough to get through games, but you know.
But I mean, after every game, man, he had the ice pack on his knee, taking tablets and whatever. I would love to have seen him in his heyday at Ajax before he went to Barcelona, because that guy could play football. And again, I'll go back to it. Arrogance. I love it. I think you've got to have a bit of arrogance. And he had arrogance in a good way. Oh, he did.
Would you put him as, I mean, we're speaking about midfielders here, but would you put him as your...
He's up with Scholes and Lampard and Gerrard and Keane and all that. 100%.
But even, is he your favourite Rangers player that you played with?
You know who I'm going to say, Arthur Newman. I just thought he was an absolute machine of football. I still scratch my head and baffles me why he retired at 32. I mean, we see him quite a lot through
the contract. He had a contract with Atletico Madrid as well. Just said no, finished, metal.
I'm just retiring at 32. He had years of football.
That was just to stay in Hamilton, though.
Just great guy, great guy, but an absolute machine. Could do everything. Great character, brilliant personality, a proper winner as well. Loved his attitude about training. If somebody was off it, he'd be on him. That was somebody that I kind of looked up to and think that's the way you've got to be. All round good guy, but top footballer, but retired at 32. He must have had too much money.
You're right. Bit like yourselves. Right, that'll do us. Thanks for watching this episode of The Warm-Up. If you enjoyed the video, then please like it. And even if you didn't, and let us know what you think of Barry's list in the comments below.
This episode was brought to you by William Hill. 18 plus, please gamble responsibly.